How are you?
Sorry about that. I'm really buggered and tired. So I was just sitting here on Skype, my own thoughts. Thanks for reminding me.
That's all
Yeah,
good. That's all good.
yeah.
So what you been up to?
Yeah, I don't know. It's been a painful week with my leg, my right calf first of all, and then excruciating pain for about 3 days in my the same side, same leg, but in my what do you call that muscle? The one just above my knee, just.
Thigh. Mhm.
Sorry?
The thigh muscle.
Thigh muscle, yeah. I thought you said
Mm.
eye. Thigh muscle, yeah. Um, and it's a specific point, which means, that there's, and it's a pressure point, and I've been massaging it for a few days, can't get rid of it. And then with the calf muscle, the only time
Oh,
I'm
good.
not in pain is when I'm sitting with my legs on the footstool. I can feel it, the discomfort, but it's not the excruciating pain. As soon as I get up and walk, then it's excruciating pain. So it just takes everything out of you. It just takes all the energy out of you.
It does. That's one thing that pain does very well. This is it saps every bit of energy out of you.
Yeah. So I've done no really thinking. I've done no reading. I've done no listening. Yeah. And what about you?
I've been busy at work, but I'm off for 2 weeks now, so I'm enjoying or about to enjoy a bit of a change, which would be good.
Okay, why are you off for 2 weeks?
Just because I needed to have a break.
Oh, I see. It's no other reasons. You always ask that these days, don't you?
What's that?
Are you sent home to hibernate?
Oh, that sort of stuff. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. No, nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
Just a bit of me time.
Yeah.
So
Very important to have too, me time.
yeah, I think it is. I haven't had it for a long time, so kind of looking forward to it.
Mm, mm, yeah.
And you've still been busy with your leading and all that sort of stuff. So
With my what, sorry?
yeah, with Get Set Up.
Oh, yeah. That's still going on, and I really wanted this weekend, from Friday through to today, to do February classes, because
Yeah,
I finished all my January classes up to date. But oh God, with this pain, it's
yeah,
and no energy. I've done a little bit of work, but not long.
yeah,
No, Get Set Up still going well, and I still don't know what's happening at the head office. Let's say, the person who's supposed to support us, I don't know. She seems to have taken leave for the third time in about a month, and the first time we knew it was COVID, she actually told us that, but that was in, I think, November or somewhere.
yeah.
But, so, we've got no sort of sounding board for February. I'm just doing my own thing, which I must say, it's quite pleasurable. But
Yeah.
I actually must get to doing it. That's the point. I've given them the titles and a short 3-sentence description. And now I've got to try and fathom some content around the title and those 3-word descriptions or 3-sentence descriptions.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And you've been getting good attendance?
Yeah, yeah, better than historically. If you take it across the board, generally across all 12 lessons, then yes. But and I think the reason probably that we're getting better attendance is that from January, a very big American contract has come on board.
Oh, okay.
You're talking about an organization that has millions of people, okay, senior organization. And so it was like I don't know what it was, like $1 million contract or $1 million contract. And it started, in the first week of January. So we have seen an increase in across the board, all the Australian guides, including Sue, and also their expectations. These new people, I think, are very different from the historical ones. There are a lot more men, okay, coming into class now, which we've never had. If we had 1 or 2 in a week, that was a lot. Now you're getting 1 or 2 in each lesson. And so, yeah, it's quite interesting to see how they interact differently to women. Yeah, so I quite enjoy the sort of straightforward logic that they bring to the class, But yeah, so I think from the indications of January, I think February will continue increasing in number as the word spreads within their own organization. Okay. And then 1 or 2
must be quite a lucrative contract that gets it up there, no?
Yeah, the CEO explained it to us in a meeting. It's basically they don't get like a lump sum or a guaranteed amount. What the contract is that this organization will pay pay for the lesson of each individual in their organization that takes a class. Okay, so the idea is to, and with their encouragement and so on, is to make those people aware and encourage them to take a class, but not only take a class, but to continue taking classes. So they get set up a changing things a little bit, and making series, getting people to sign up for a series of classes based on the same subject, or content, similar content or something like that. My first glance at that, it didn't seem great. But what I've done for February, I've created 4 classes and made them in brackets series. So each of the 4 classes, one leads to the next one, leads to the next one. And I don't know if they're going to actually even acknowledge. They didn't ask us to do that. They just told us, how they get paid. And so I thought, well, it makes sense to me then to get people to try and sign up for more than 1 lesson at a time.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. But the heat, Don, is still phenomenal. We've had not world record, historical records of heat here in Perth. It's really, and today's another hot day. It might not be quite 40, but oh my God, it's 39 something.
Yeah.
And so it's hectic. Yeah. Well, we've got air conditioning and so on, but the air just seems to get drier and drier and drier. We don't have a humid hot summer here like I think you do probably in the East Coast.
Yeah, it gets very hot and steamy.
Yeah, ours is just the opposite. It gets very hot and dry. If it steamy, it's not actually. I didn't like the Durban. That's where we used to get that humid, hot summers in Durban, and I couldn't handle the humidity. That's a
no. There's no relief. There's no relief from it whatsoever.
Yeah. So anyway, and yesterday we got this bloody big snake that came into our garden, 2 meters long, venomous.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah. We looked it up. And, it's I forget what it's called now. I've got it. If you're interested, I'll send you a link to it. And Sue was actually about 1 meter away from it when it came under the gate. And so she screamed at me. I was inside the house, but I didn't hear her. And so she ran away from watching the snake to come and call me. And when we came and called back, it had disappeared. And so we now searched very, I wouldn't say diligently, but very carefully, and to see if we could find it. But we haven't found it for 24 hours.
Yeah, I think they normally try and keep away from you. So
yeah, hopefully when she shouted for me, it might have, it might have turned around and got back under the gate again. And then we watched about 2 hours later. 2 of the bandicoots came in. They come in the same way and take the same sort of route, and they seem to bounce through the bushes quite happily. I would have thought that possibly if there was a 2-meter snake there, they wouldn't have been happy. Okay.
No, that's for sure.
But haven't seen anything. So hopefully they've gone out. So
That's for sure.
That was quite a.
You don't need visitors like that.
No, don't need visitors like that. You absolutely don't. There's not much you can do to stop them either.
No, that's right. Well, I mean, they're normally just attracted by food or water. Seems to be the only 2 things that seems to attract them. So
yeah, well, you see, we do have water. We have water on the ground for the frogs, and we do have frogs, and I guess the snakes eat frogs as well. I don't know what these venomous things eat, but we do, and we have lots of quite thick indigenous bush now. Our gardens grown, and so I guess there's a bit of protection from the heat, because I guess that they're not guess, but they are cold-blooded, so they want to avoid boiling. Yeah, so I think they're looking for somewhere where it's shady and quiet. Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
So I had a quick look at that numerology stuff that you sent through.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So do you have much more to say about that at all? Or?
I haven't touched it since we last spoke. Okay, really for the reasons that I mentioned. I just haven't been able to do any. I can't pick up a book and read. I can't listen to anything, and I sleep very badly. So up and down all night and away. So each day is a challenge at the moment. So no, I haven't.
Well, that's all right.
Yeah,
that's all right.
Got the rest of my life.
That's right.
Yeah. Have you looked at it? What have you come up?
Well, I had a look at what you sent through to me,
okay.
and I tried to do a little bit on like just searching as to what some of those terms meant.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I haven't done much. No.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I will get back. It's now on my radar, and I will definitely, because it interests me.
Because it sort of popped back up for you, didn't it?
Yeah, most mysteriously too. So, so I'm going to try and remember every Thursday morning. Michelle, that I encouraged to start doing lessons, she does 1 lesson a week, and she does various aspects around energy. Okay. And because she's an ambassador, she doesn't get paid for her lessons. They also don't get advertised. There's just a space there that's a general space for all her lessons. It's not a space to say what she's doing this particular lesson. So, so I'm going to just go in there and see.
Is that on Get Set Up?
Get Set Up, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's a free lesson, and I've attended 2 of hers, and the information is good. Okay. I'm trying to help her just with presentation a little bit, and even her slides and the way she voices, but the content is good. She knows her content. Okay, and that's the most important thing. And I've suggested to her now, in the last Zoom meeting we had, and that is to take what I sent you, okay, that type of the cycles and some of the numbers, and then actually do a class. So each person comes with a pen and paper, and they say, right, we're going to talk your life number now. This is how you do your life number, okay? Show them how to do the life number, and they would then, it's easy to calculate, they'd quickly calculate it, okay? And then she'd say, fine, now, tell me now what your life numbers are, and I'll tell you something about those life numbers generally, you know, and there may be a few that are the same life number, and then she would go through to them. They say, right, let's now talk about soul number, okay, and you know, and then let's calculate your soul number. That's what I wanted to I want her to do. I don't think she's ready to do it yet, but I think it would be a very valuable. I think a lot of people who know nothing would be very interested, and people who know a lot would also be interested. You know?
Yeah, no, for sure.
So yeah, that's every Thursday morning before my classes start, in fact. So in fact, it's just 1 hour before my first class starts. So yeah.
And where is she based?
Somewhere in the middle of the States, somewhere.
Okay, in the US, yeah.
Yeah, I'm in the US. I don't recall quite where it is, but yeah. And, yeah. But I think a lot has to come out now in the future. There seems to be, from the little, and I've only glanced at headlines, and then that's always dangerous because you're interpreting somebody else's headlines. I don't like, you know, basing my facts on people's headlines, but there seems to be quite a lot that that is happening in Britain and the United States.
There is a lot, you know. I like to give you an example, like the finance system. You know, there's a lot going on there. A lot of which doesn't seem to be. I mean, it's not hidden away, but it's not sort of headlines in the public domain as such either. But there's a few, like the US is about to release a report on their attitude towards crypto.
Yeah.
So that's been coming for a while, and apparently it's due to land in the next, I don't know, matter of weeks apparently. And the guys who's in charge of their Federal Reserve, he had to go and get his appointment reconfirmed through the US Senate. And that process is they interview him, you know, senators can ask questions and so on. And he was asked quite a few questions about, you know, about debt and stimulus and crypto and all of that sort of stuff. So reading between the lines, I think it looks reasonably positive from a US perspective around the role of crypto. I mean, they want to try and make it a little bit more stable, which is probably code for regulation, but there's only so much they can do in that space. Yeah.
There's not much they can do.
No. Interestingly, Russia has said that they're pretty much opposed to it the way it is at the moment. And they were sort of talking about outlawing it or significantly limiting it in Russia.
Yeah.
Which is usually code for they're trying to do their own thing.
Yeah, and they're pretty good at doing that.
Yeah.
Historically.
And similarly with China, you know, so there's still a lot of, you know, toing and froing and on the other foot, there's still a number of, like, almost on a weekly basis, another small country will abandon their own fiat currency in favor of Bitcoin. So, you know, so that's happening as well. So there's a lot going on in that space.
Yeah, there is. Interesting. Did you hear about the 3 explosions underneath the White House?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, it kept absolutely tight. And apparently, according to Simon Parks, that I heard it from, okay, it was just like a reversal of 9/11, okay, or the start of it. 9/11, the people went to the buildings, of course, and put dynamite in the buildings and so on, prepared everything so that for the total demolition, you know, when the time came. And the same has been done. Now they've weakened the foundations of the White House, okay, waiting for a time when it's going to be brought down. But the first step has been done. Okay, so yeah. So
sounds like the empire is crumbling, doesn't it?
yeah. It appears from everything that Simon Parks has said to me as well. Okay, and you know, when you look at Russia, Ukraine, and America, I mean, forget about the Allied forces. You know, you know, we only get from the news in black hat countries like Australia. We only get what they want to give us, as you know that. Okay, but it apparently has been. There are far more American troops in the region near Ukraine than there are Russian troops. Okay. Really?
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're all very casual about it. Okay. The Americans, you know, Biden, he's very casual. You've probably heard his little speech. It's almost said, well, you know, Russia's going to be there, and that's fine. But then why are there so many American troops that have been moving there for months? Okay, it's not just recently. So I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, if I was the Ukraine, you know, I would put up my hands and say, whoever wants us, take us. We don't want to be killed because of your squabbles. Okay, you know, and just join whoever, you know, offer them the best package. Okay.
Has there been anything said through the Alatra group? Because a number of those people
are in the Ukraine.
Are in the Ukraine.
Yeah. I've read nothing. You know, from.
Well, even when you were doing the English classes, they never really wanted to discuss it, did they? You know, so.
No, they didn't, and there was tension. I sent a message to. Let me just see if she's answered. To Ilana. No, she hasn't. She hasn't even read it. Okay. Asking her, you know, what's her opinion, what's going on, and the class and the people in the Ukraine. Because she's in Russia, she's not in the Ukraine. So
yeah, well, that's where the core of the Alatra is in Kiev, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Where it really started, I think.
And you were saying that there was even tension there, was there, between the Ukraine and Russian participants, was there?
No, I wouldn't say. I think that would be sort of an exaggeration if I did imply that. But it certainly, they didn't want to talk about it with others present.
Okay. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah.
You know, that sort of thing. Okay. And Ilana would sort of interrupt and say, you know, let's get on with the party, you know. And, but there were some that did share their problems with trying to get from one town to another town with their families, and in the Ukraine. So, but then, you know, that was already a couple of months ago, wasn't it? Yeah. So we just wait and see what happens there. I listened to a little bit of Edge of Wonder. They were talking about a historical empire, Tartaria, Tartaria, I think it was Tartaria, that was bigger than any empire ever on earth. Okay. And,
oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, a hell of a lot bigger than the Roman Empire. Okay. And there's a question mark why it has been eradicated off all maps, off all things by the Russians, because they were there. And so I've only listened to part one. So they've got 3 parts, I think, or 4 parts that come out to explain that. But it is interesting because Russia has just had well, I mean, nobody's been able to conquer Russia. I mean, everybody's tried to. Hitler tried to and couldn't. Okay.
Yeah. Napoleon tried.
Yeah. And you just don't fight with Russia because you're going to lose. Okay. And that's my advice to the Ukraine too. Don't put up a resistance. Okay. It's just not worth it.
Well, they were part of the Soviet Union, weren't they?
Yes, they were. Oh, yeah. And they broke away. And yeah. But, the Russian premier is actually, in his speech, he said something interesting. He referred to himself as a republic. Okay. And he's not a republic. Okay. But I wonder if he's got intentions. Okay, and how that would play out. Yeah, who knows? There's just too much going on.
Well, there is a lot going on, and that's the thing. It's a bit hard to sort of see whether the dog's wagging the tail or the tail's wagging the dog with some of it. Because on another unrelated issue, I saw an article there. I can't remember where it was now. I was doing some homework around changes in the finance, like the global financial system.
Yeah.
And then I had to do with Elon Musk, I think. And he made some left field comment about, oh, well, there's a lot of preparations going on now to introduce extraterrestrial life into our mainstream consciousness now.
Oh, is that so? I didn't see that. Okay.
Yeah. And, he was saying, oh, so some of the changes, you mightn't understand what the motivation is, but, it could be partly related to that.
Yeah.
But he himself seems to be still hell-bent on getting off this planet, though.
Yeah. Very seriously. Every time you open his mouth, he talks about it. Okay, so it might be just his dream that or he knows something that we don't know. Okay. Yeah, I agree. And the interesting thing with talking about Britain, Britain has always been the financial hub in a sense of the world. Okay. And apparently, what the white hats are currently doing, okay, is and talking about what you were talking about a moment ago with cryptocurrency and so on, and blockchain, the previous day, is that the white hats want to keep everybody in position, okay, particularly the parliamentarians and people like that. So as you see, the Premier of Britain has been rather drunk lately, and they've been asking for his head, but he refuses, and so he's. I guess he might be being protected at the moment, but there are already changes at a level that doesn't affect the man in the street yet. Okay, as far as the source of money and the control of transfer of money with quantum computers. Okay, so the rich of the rich are having difficulty. Okay, And because I do a class on the rich of the rich, or going to be doing one in February, I noticed something that I wasn't aware of, including Elon Musk that you mentioned, is that they're all talking now about giving their money to certain charities and organizations and helping the world and helping Africa and helping South America. And all of a sudden, this is, everybody's talking about it. And Musk has joined Richard Branson, and Richard Branson has joined Bezos, and they're forming something to help the world.
And Bezos' ex-wife has given away huge amounts of money, so
absolutely, yeah. So there's a lot of activity, as you said earlier, around the finances, okay, but it's around London basically, okay, and that brings me to the Queen's brother. And
well, I was going to say the old British Empire is a bit wobbly at the moment, and royalties, hanging on by a thread, so
but there have been lots of predictions, including going all the way back to Nostradamus. But you see this young Diana's son, okay, stripping away from the family, okay, because I believe that he's fully aware of what the Queen is doing as far as the satanic things she does, okay, and his grandfather, Charles, is 10 times worse than the Queen. Okay, so there's no hope in hell. And they like the headquarters of the world's black hats, okay, and let's say from a satanic point of view, and the money, and perhaps along with Rome as well, and between the two of them, so I think he just said, I got to go away, and in that interview with Oprah, Meghan was saying that she often felt like committing suicide when she was there. Only a sensitive woman who understands what it is, the satanic things they're doing, would want to think, how do I get out of this? What have I got myself into? Okay. And so thinking of committing suicide, to get away from it. Fortunately, Harry just, obviously saw the thing. They've had a discussion and they've separated themselves now officially. Okay, they still keep in contact and come and do this and that, and he's cut off from any money. So when the proverbial hits the fan, I think that he will be outside of it. Okay, and he might have to give evidence against his grandmother.
It'd be interesting to see what comes out of all of that, though, wouldn't it? Like what's the next iteration? Because if the royal family, is completely discredited, then what's it turn into, a republic or something, does it? Or?
Yeah, it would turn into a republic. But if you're a white hat, okay, now there are certain people around the world that need to be taken totally out, okay, but the majority need to be kept, because of, as you and I have seen, and we often observe in these classes, that the people just believe the mainstream media, okay, and we're talking about what percentage, I don't know, but probably 80% of people, the population of the planet, believe in what they read in mainstream media, get all their news from TV and newspapers and the emails that go, and what they find on Facebook and so on. And it's only about 20% of us that actually are trying to to search for the real truth behind all this and to help support. I mean, yesterday there was a big march in Perth. Okay, I don't know if you saw it on the news. Okay,
No.
The mainstream media just said thousands of people. Okay, and showed an image of the stragglers at the end of the year. You know, they didn't show the bulk of where we saw some other pictures. So there were a lot of people who just are up to here with all of this. Okay, and you know, when the Premier talks nonsense about how many people are vaccinated, then, you know, he's had more people vaccinated than live in WA. And, you know, all those thousands of people that come out onto the streets against it, it's...
Well, I think in one sense, when you look at what's happened here, you know, like there was reports of, you know, right up until virtually Christmas, you know, 0 cases, 0 cases, 0 cases.
Yeah.
And the chief health officer came out there today, I think it was, and is saying that he thinks that the real figure in Queensland is close to 1 million people.
Yeah.
So from 0 to 1 million in what, 3 weeks?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Our Premier was talking, as I think just before you and I spoke last time, was saying, you know, he's locking down, he's not going to open the borders like he had promised to open on 5th of February and so on, because of this deadly virus that's killing all these people on the East Coast, okay? And yet the rest of the world, doesn't matter if you're talking about the Netherlands or Britain or South Africa, okay? It's like a flu that's just going there. People are not dying because of that. So we're really into a jailer's state here. But it doesn't matter.
It's interesting.
Yeah, we just got to watch and where we can make people aware. But the polarization between the believers and the non-believers are quite severe. Okay.
Well, they are, aren't they? And that's sort of, you know, it's hard to sort of separate any of these things out, you know, because they all seem somehow have some sort of relationship to each other, don't they? You know?
So. Yeah. Another thing that Simon Parks was telling us, he said that he sees on the positive, and that is there have been a lot of explosions deep under Earth all over the planet. Okay, and they've just been mentioned in the back papers as volcanic activity, and he says they're not. Okay, they're explosions. They're blowing up accommodation and tunnels and cities and things that have been used for the Black Hats.
Well, that one over, what was it, near Samoa or wherever it was, like that was huge.
That was huge. That was huge.
Yeah.
Okay, and that was, there were a lot of volcanic ash, but you know that came out, exploded. They could see the ash from space. So you know, I would suspect that that was a genuine one, unless it was some things leading to, in other words, there was a tunnel between that separated this volcano from this one, and then they blew it up, and that then brought these things to a head, and all but destroyed that island.
Yeah, that was incredible, that one. I mean, you know, they heard the explosion in New Zealand, apparently, you know, which is a long way from Samoa, you know. So.
Yeah. But so there appear to be, according to Simon, a lot of things deep down that are working in the financial field, in getting all these places where people are smuggling children and women and things like that, you know, getting them out, blowing up where they were so they can't go back to those places.
Does it give any insight as to what he thinks coming?
He says basically, you know, his points of contact have told him a lot. Okay, now he says there's most of it he cannot tell yet. Okay, but he says also that the timeline just keeps changing. Okay. He says the Black Hats have still got a very strong hold on the planet. Okay.
Yeah.
And so it's a matter of, you know, what those deep down plans of the White Hats, where they're destroying whatever they're destroying. You know, he's other than what I've just said now. You know, sort of caves and tunnels and things deep underground. You know, he's at the financial field, which is changing. We see the financial field changing. You know, he says we just got to wait for the other to happen, and when he's given permission to talk about it, then he will. But he's a lovely fellow. I mean, you know, he talks on I don't know if you've ever watched any of his videos, but you know, he's got his cat around, and his cat sort of wants his attention. His dog wants his attention, and he sort of just talks to the dog and then talks to us, you know. And so, you know, it's really, I love him just for being so natural, you know. I think he's great, and yeah. But he said, you know, the more people that stick to their guns, he's got now more than 1 million followers. Okay,
wow.
So across the world, and he's got coordinators now in just about every country in the world, and there's a reason for that. You know, they've got to finally set up these new health homes or hospitals using alien technology.
Okay.
And but none of it is available. There's not the first one up yet. He says it's all under wraps until the time is right. Okay. So,
well, you've heard that before, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, we had that when Trump left office.
Well, that I was sort of thinking more Moya, actually, but yeah.
Yeah, I see. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There was a nice thing. Somebody posted something on Logos yesterday on to the WhatsApp, basically just saying, guys, I called Jan. He lives somewhere out in the Western Cape in South Africa, and he says, please remind me why Logos is so special. Okay, and so people replied to him. It really is so motivating to read it. One, Mariola put in an 8-minute audio about it, and it's just so good. And the other people wrote, you know, Lee wrote, and other people wrote. I just read it. I just thanked them for it. I didn't give I just wasn't in the right frame of mind. You know? And, so yeah. But there is a certain protection for every single person that has asked and has been initiated, okay, even at a long distance. That link will give them an immense amount of protection as the proverbial hits the fan, and they would be inspired to do certain things and move in certain ways, and so we'll see how that goes.
Certainly will. It's interesting, you know, like that initiation process is going on all around the place.
How do you mean by that? From
Well, I just sort of think about some of the stuff that Sadhguru does, you know, his programs.
see.
That's a term that he uses as well. You know, once you've been initiated into this program, then these things flow from it, you know,
Yeah,
for you.
yeah.
And,
Okay, okay. Yeah.
mm,
Um, so yeah, it's interesting. As the one person said, I mean, I can send you these things on that people have written there if you like.
mm,
They're on Telegram. You must just ask and I'll send them to you. But
mhm.
one of the things said there, you know, Moya, you know, is a manifestation of God. Okay,
Yeah.
direct.
Mm,
Okay, so
mm,
you know, when he puts the energy, the neuter energy, and links you to that through an initiation, it's very, very powerful. Okay,
mm,
as
mm,
opposed to maybe the Pope initiating you, you know, into the Catholic Church. You
mm,
understand?
mm,
Yeah. So
mm,
it's the ultimate that's on earth at the moment, I guess. Okay.
mm.
But and I mean, he's been talking about, he's been doing that for how long have I known Moya? 2006, I think.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah. So I got my first initiation in 2006 from him. Yeah.
mm,
And then there are other initiations as you advance, or you know, as you move through and do certain practices, then Moya knows, you know, he's aware on the inner of how you have evolved. And then, you know,
This
historically.
this book that I'm listening to at the moment for the second time, he talks about practices and things like that. And I was fascinated. It was only a couple of days ago. You know, he made the comment that he says, "Well, your practices are like getting on a train. You know, it's sort of once you get to your destination, you leave the train behind. You know, with the implication being that, well, once you reach a certain level of awareness, you don't need that any longer.
Yeah, you got
So
to
you
find
just
the
let
next
that
train.
go.
Yeah,
Yeah, you know, so
yeah, yeah,
you know, yeah, it was interesting, you know, because he says because the trouble is that some people become attached to the practice, and that's not what the purpose of the practice is.
spot on, spot on. Yeah, yeah,
Mm,
absolutely, absolutely.
mm,
So
mm.
that journey takes you, probably what you are saying or what he is saying, you know, to that level of consciousness. And now
Well,
that's where you go.
he even made the statement is that, you know, when you think you've discovered God, well, you've got to let that go too.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, of course, I agree.
Mm, mm,
Yeah,
mm.
yeah,
Lots of possibilities, that's for sure. Mm.
yeah, yeah. Just need to get back to being physically fit so that I can really get my head into it again. And also see what the new 9-year cycle brings, you know, as well.
So what's your prediction on that? Do you think that this pain that you're experiencing will just disappear overnight, or what do you think's going to happen there with it?
Um, I wish I could wave a magic wand rather. Yeah, you know, I don't know. I heard yesterday, for example, one of my class school friends, okay,
Mm,
Jacko Jackson, he lives in New Zealand, okay. He died last month, okay.
mm,
And I'd been keeping 3 or 4 times a year, keeping contact like I have with some of my other friends who've also died subsequently, okay.
mm,
And I don't feel like I'm on the death row, okay. I feel I'm on going to another. I think like you. I like to use your words. you know, you've got to get off the train sometime. And so I guess after a 9-year cycle, you've got to get off that train, okay? And then wait for the next one. You remember how what was that? That guy, the magic wand in London, and caught a train. And,
like Harry Potter.
Harry Potter, that's it. Yeah, you know, it'd be like Harry Potter, and wait for a door to open on the platform that I didn't know was there.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good analogy.
Yeah. I gotta remember. I must remember to remember his name. But yeah. So I think there's still something. There's some. You know, I'm doing a class right now. I was researching it before I broke away to talk to you, and that between the word meaning and purpose. Okay, because I wanted to me there was a confusion between that. Okay, and so I decided that in place of the spiritual class that you and I have spoken about. That I would sort of focus around that, okay, and talk but I need to research it because I don't understand it yet, okay, and hopefully then I'll understand it. I've then taught myself, okay, and then I can share that. Yeah, meaning and purpose, okay, and I remember. Who was that guy that always talks about Tony Robbins? Yeah, I remember him saying, you know, doesn't matter what the purpose is as long as you have a purpose. Okay, then you're going to. It's a journey, and you're going to feel fulfilled. You're going to feel happy because you're on purpose. Okay, notice it doesn't matter what it is. Okay, and that's fine. But now I want to know. What is meaning? What's a meaningful life? And what a purposeful life? Anyway, I'll let you know when I know. Maybe in a few years' time.
Oh, it won't take that long. It won't take that long. A few weeks' time.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Well, it has to be before February. So it's a week's time. Yeah. Okay, then maybe that's a good place to.
Okay. Will you go and search for meaning then? And
you go search for purpose.
Well, I was going to say you should purposefully search for meaning. Purposefully search for meaning. So.
Well, enjoy your time off. Eh? Have you got
any?
I'm
going to.
Are you going to do anything specific?
I got a few projects around the house I want to do, and a couple of people asked me to do restore some furniture, and just stuff I enjoy doing. So, and I also want to continue my crypto journey. I'm really finding it fascinating, actually.
Excellent.
But I'll tell you more about that on Wednesday.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, the last time we spoke about cutting hair. Yesterday, I went and had it short back and sides. Okay. I thought, I don't want to go back into those shopping centers. I want to keep away from all of them now. So, and we don't have, any COVID outbreaks in our area yet. And they keep on saying yet. Okay. So I decided to go and have short, which I haven't had this short for decades. Well, maybe for half a century.
Well, that's all right. Well, I'll continue my journey.
You keep growing.
I'll give up shaving. Yeah.
Okay. That's fine. Okay, Don.
Okay. You take care.
You too. Okay. Bye.
Okay.
Then.
Bye now.
Bye.